Hi everyone and welcome to the class. My name is Audrey and today's reading lesson will be about the future. Okay, so maybe we have some different ideas about what the future will be like. Hopefully we can discuss those ideas and then we'll take a look at an article that takes an opinion about maybe what are the important things to consider when we're thinking about the future. So I'm sorry for the bit of delay. We're having a little bit of an issue with the Verbling application here at Verbling, so hopefully those of you who are joining the class won't have an issue using the Verbling application here. But again, today's reading class is about the future. So in just a moment, as soon as we get our students in the class, we're going to go ahead and start with introductions. And be thinking, if you're watching, wanting to join, be thinking of what your vision of the future is. What do you think the future is going to be like, okay? So be thinking about that, and whenever you join the class, which I encourage you to do, I hope that you will join the class, you will have the opportunity to share that view. So we have a student. Tell me how to pronounce your name. We have Evil. Can you hear me? Are you with us?
Hello?
Okay, you might need to unmute your microphone. Oh, there we go. Now I can hear you. How are you?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I think there's a lot of delay between, yeah, I can hear you, but there's a lot of delay between when you speak and when I can hear you. You might need to close out any extra windows that you have. If you have Verbling open, then close out your Verbling window, okay?
Okay, sorry. It's the first time for me to use this site, so...
Oh, no problem, no problem. Well, I can hear you very well now, so that's great.
Okay.
Tell me your name.
My name is Aya. I'm in Japan.
Aya, very nice to see you. So it's your first time here in Verbling.
Yes, so I don't know what to do.
Okay, wonderful. Well, if you just sit back and listen, you will be acquainted with the rules, and hopefully you'll join me for some more reading classes, okay?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Welcome everybody else to the class. It's nice to see you all. We're going to go ahead really quick with introductions. So as I said before, today's class is about the future. Okay, and I asked you to start thinking about what you envision the future as. So we're going to start first with Ben. How are you, Ben? Ben, are you with us? You may need to unmute your microphone. So click on the microphone icon above the Verbling chat. Okay, Ben, let us know. Okay, now we can hear you. Wonderful.
Hello. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you. It's my first lesson too.
Okay, great. It's nice to have some new faces.
Thanks.
Okay, very good. So tell us, Ben, where are you from?
I'm from Algeria.
Okay, perfect. And today's topic, as I said, is about the future. So I'm going to ask you to describe for us, what do you think the world is going to be like in 50 years?
50 years?
In 50 years, tell us what you imagine it being like.
I don't know, maybe many wars in the world.
Many wars?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a very sad vision of the future.
Yes, my future or the future of the world?
The future of the world. The future of the world.
Yes.
Okay, what else?
Okay, thank you.
Did you want to add anything else, Ben, to that?
About my future or future of the world? Or the
The
world?
world, the future of the world.
About the weather, I think the weather is very bad. It's going very
Mhm.
bad.
Mhm. Okay, yeah. Good point. Good point. Anything else?
Not now. Maybe
Okay.
later.
Okay,
I will
that's
think about it.
fine. Okay, very good, very good. Next, let's go to Aya. How are you?
Hi. Yeah, good. Thank you.
Great. It's wonderful to see you. And you said you were from Japan, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So could you share with us what is your vision of the future in 50 years?
Well, do you ask me like what is my future or what is the world future?
The world future. So what do you think the world is going to be like in 50 years?
Well, technology will be much more closer with us. Like everything will be connected with technology, so that like SNS, Facebook, or some other social networking come to our lives. So,
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Yes, I think it's a good point.
Yeah, yeah. So social networking, all this technology,
Yes.
you agree, Ben, that you think that might happen or that will happen in the future?
And the planet will be more smaller with the technologies.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good, very good. Anything else you wanted to add, Aya? Okay, maybe not. We'll go next to we have Lee. How are you?
Okay, hello, I'm fine. How are you?
Great, nice to see you. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, let me introduce something about myself. My name is Ken. I'm from Vietnam and I'm 23 years old. This
Okay,
is the
very
first,
good.
yeah, this is the first time I learned from you. So thank you.
Yes, wonderful. It's nice to meet you. And you said your name was Ken?
Yeah, Ken.
Okay, Ken. And Ken, what do you think the world is going to be like in 50 years?
I think the World War III gonna happen.
Right. What's going to happen in 50 years? How do you think that society will be?
I think World War III gonna happen.
Oh no. So you're thinking the same as Ben, that there's going to be a lot of wars.
Yeah. And I think people will like a friend before that technology will increase very fast, very quick, and the people just work with robot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, humanity just work with robot and with machine robot and on the internet. I think
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
very good, very good. Any comments about what Ken had?
I think that's all for me.
Okay, very good. Next we have help me with your name. We have Wisso.
Julia.
Julia, okay.
I don't know how to fix
Okay.
that. That's actually the name of my city and my school.
Oh, okay. Okay, very good. So, Julia, why don't you tell us where you're from?
I am from Poland, in Eastern Europe,
Okay, very good.
and
And
I study English at uni.
perfect,
So I
perfect.
found this website to practice
Is this your
and
first
get
time as
inspired.
well?
It's my kind of second or third time.
Okay,
So
very
today I'm
good.
checking it out.
Very good. So, tell us, Julia, what is your vision of the future?
Well, it's a difficult question. I think that people will change and basically history repeats itself. So I think the countries that are very liberal are going to become more conservative, and the countries like mine that is quite conservative and close-minded will become more liberal. until it gets so liberal that it will start to get more conservative again. If
Oh,
you
very
understand what I
interesting.
mean.
Very interesting. Yeah, I understand what you mean. And that's an interesting way of thinking of things. So you think it's just going to go in this cycle. Okay, very good. Very good.
Vicious cycle. Can you say vicious cycle?
Yes,
No,
a
you
vicious
can't, can you?
cycle. It's right. A vicious cycle, one that's hard to stop. Okay, perfect, perfect. So very interesting ideas. I look forward to hearing some more. We have a student next to you. I can't read your name. Can you introduce yourself? We just have little boxes. At least that's all I can see. Are you there?
Like a Chinese.
Can you say again? Okay, we'll hopefully come back to you. Next, we have Clarine.
Yes.
Hi, how are you? Welcome to the class.
Hi, I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
Great, nice to see you.
How's
Where are you
everybody?
from?
I'm from Indonesia.
Okay, perfect. And the topic is about the future. So, how would you envision the future in 50 years?
In 50 years, I mean, the world and people will be depend on technology, and technology will be more increased.
Mm-hmm.
Will be modern, and we might doesn't have to go to school because we can do like this.
Mm-hmm.
On cam like that. I think it's gonna be happen 15 years, and all newspapers will be replaced by online ebook like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Okay, yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. So, what do you other students think about these ideas? Do you think that teachers will be replaced?
No, it won't be.
Okay, but you think that maybe we'll have schools like this, schools online, instead of
Yeah, like e-learning,
mhm. Okay, very good, very good. Let's go next to who do we have? We have Christina. How are you?
Everything's fine, thank you.
Great, nice to see you. Where are you from?
Thank you. I'm from Russia.
Okay, perfect. And tell us about your idea. What will it be like 50 years in the future?
I think that in 50 years, if we look through the windows, we will see flying cars. Also, I agree with your idea about e-education, that it will replace the normal one. And also, I agree about e-books and such technologies. I guess that computer will prevail all the other devices, and our world will be even more computer-sized than even now, when each little child has some gadget, knows everything about new and old application for it, and everything is so developed, even as I can see.
Right.
One example of my friends' children, they can, even in the age of 1 or 2 years, find something in the internet. By chance, of course, but anyway, on YouTube, watching their favorite cartoons and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. Even when you think about the present day, you can see that we're heading towards this more and more technology-based place, right?
Yeah, and I hope that in 50 years we will find the medicines against all the most powerful diseases, like illness.
Right. Okay, very good. Very good.
Cancer and SIDA.
Yes, we hope. Okay, so let's go next to Marine or Marine.
Yes,
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Very good. Nice to see you. Where are you from?
From France.
Okay, very good. Can you pronounce your name for me?
Marine.
Marina?
Marine.
Oh, Mahina, maybe. Did I say it right?
No,
Yes.
Marina.
Very good.
With R.
It's Marina?
Mhm.
Marine.
Okay. I think I'm still saying it wrong.
No, 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 Marina.
Okay, Marina.
That's good.
Okay. So tell me what you think that the world will be like in 50 years.
I don't know. I agree with all the technologies. I think it's a good things, but in the same way, in in France is like in other countries. I think it's more and more complicated. So with the crisis, so I'm not very optimistic about the future. In the same time, even if technologies are a good thing.
Okay, yeah. Okay, very good, very good. So maybe the future will change for the worse sometimes.
Yes, maybe.
Okay, hopefully not, but
Yes.
it's possible. Okay, let's go next to, we have Moni.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, nice to see you. Where are you from?
Nice to see you too. I'm from Egypt.
Okay, perfect. And what is your vision of the future in 50 years?
I agree with others about modern technology. It will play a great role in the people life. Perhaps we'll see many people to live on Mars, the planet Mars, maybe.
Yeah.
And I wish one thing. I wish the peace will include all the world, and we'll not see any wars in the future.
Okay, very good, very good. So you have a positive outlook, hopefully, about no more wars.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope so too. And maybe the technology that connects all of us together might aid in that. You never know. Okay, very good, very good. So everybody has introduced themselves, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the article. And as we're reading this, I'd like for us to continue discussing. So you've given a little bit of your opinion, but I'm sure you have plenty more to say, or I hope you have plenty more to say. So let me share my screen with you, and I'll also give you a link of this article. So just one moment. And I'm hearing just a little bit of echo, so make sure if you're in the class that you close out the Verbling window. If you have the Verbling tab open as well, make sure to close that out just so we don't hear any echo. Okay? So let me post the link here in the Verbling chat if you would prefer to look at it on your own screen. But we're going to take turns reading these sections, these paragraphs, and as you read, I'll correct any pronunciation errors that you have, and I'll also answer any questions you have about vocabulary. Okay, does that sound good?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so let's start first with Ben. Would you like to read us the title and the first paragraph?
It's not really clear. I can't see it.
You can't see it? If it's not very clear, you can click on the link in the Verbling chat. Can you see the link in the Verbling chat? Do you see the link, Ben? Are you there? Okay, maybe we'll go next to Clarine first.
Yes.
Would you like to read the first section for us?
Okay. 5 unexpected factors that change how we forecast the future. We see the future in terms of Wait. We see the future in the terms of technology, but if you actually want to do a better job guessing what will happen, it's better to look at the social, cultures, and environmental inputs.
Okay, very good, very good.
Thank you.
Pronunciation was good. Maybe this word guessing. Guessing.
Guessing.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So are there any vocab questions? Any words that you did not understand in this section? Anybody in the class?
What does it mean
Everything
for forecast?
Okay, it says how we forecast the future. Does anybody know what it means to forecast?
To think about it more carefully.
Okay, to think about
Think
it. What else?
what will happen.
Exactly.
Think what will happen in the
Exactly. So you could say to predict the future.
yeah.
To forecast or to predict the future. Okay, so a lot of times you'll hear the word with weather forecast. It means your weather prediction. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Very good. Any other questions? So this article is an opinion article, and we're going to
Maybe
look at
inputs.
it. Okay, yeah, I'll come back to that in just a second. So this article is an opinion article. We're going to take a look at this author's particular opinion. So try to be thinking about what the author believes as we read this. Okay, and Christina, you had asked about inputs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what does it mean, social, cultural, and environmental inputs? Anybody?
It's like what you give to this domain.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So inputs could be what you give. You could also say like factors. So social, cultural, and environmental factors. So the author is saying we should look at these social, cultural, and environmental inputs or factors rather than thinking only of technology. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
What do you think, those of you in the class, what do you think so far about what the author believes? Do you think that these things are more important than technology? What do you think?
Maybe that's not guessing what we should do, but to try to do all our best to protect, for example, environment or trying to develop technologies without making harm to it, developing our culture. What I guess really stopped for now. And about social activities, it's also not to stay at home and to be more to really be more social, and that's what we can do to make our future better and not just guessing what will happen. So we can influence it.
So that's a good point. If we want to make our future better, we can look at these factors or these inputs. Okay, very good. So, but the author is saying that these are the things we should look at in order to guess what will happen in the future, or in order to forecast the future. We have to look at social, cultural, and environmental inputs. Okay, so let's see what else he says. Aya, would you like to read the next section for us?
Okay. When we think of the future, we have a tendency. Oh, well, I can't see. When we think of When we think of the future, we have a tendency to think in terms of technologies. whether it's something as silly as a flying car or as banal as a new it, iteration of a mobile tablet. Our images of what tomorrow will bring have a strong material bias.
Okay, very good, very good. The two words I wanted to point out is this one, banal, as a new iteration. Okay, very good. So, are there questions about those words? Do we want to go over the meaning of those?
No.
Okay, what does banal mean? Anybody know?
Something really usual, nothing special.
Exactly, something common, something that's not unique. Okay, very good. How about iteration?
It happened again, and again.
Exactly. Like something that's repeated or happening over and over. So it says, we tend to think of the future in terms of technologies. And a lot of you did say that technology was going to improve and grow in the future, which is correct. But the author says that maybe we should take a look at other things other than just technology. Okay? And Christina, he called your idea of flying cars silly. Why do you think the author thinks that this is silly?
I don't know, but why to fly if we can, if it's the same to move by the ground, or why to do it in the air? No sense. But maybe it can be faster, so it can be reasonable, not so silly.
Yeah, maybe for further into the future we can develop technologies that makes it
maybe
more
just
useful.
to show off, here what we can, here what we already can, here where is the progress.
Yeah, it could be. Okay, very good.
And maybe it realizes the dream of many people to fly, because like a bird.
Yeah. Okay, very good. So maybe that's something that could change in the future. We could fly. Okay, Christina, would you like to read the next section for us?
Yeah, for everyday folks, this isn't terribly surprising. Our sense of what's futuristic, whatever we're via advertising or science fiction stories, zeroes in on stuff. Robots, spaceships, holograms, or so forth.
Okay, very good, very good. So what is the author saying here? Anybody want to try and summarize?
He thinks. Can I try?
Okay, go ahead.
He thinks, in the future, young people will be expecting that the zeros, like what's gonna happen in the futures, like robots, spaceships, and holograms.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what we think of as being futuristic. Maybe it's because of all the science fiction stories that we hear, but we think of these things like robots, spaceships, and holograms. And in the previous paragraph, he says, our images of what tomorrow will bring have a strong material bias. What does that sentence mean? A strong material bias. Anybody know or have an idea?
Maybe that this all will become really truth, and won't be some kind of fiction stories anymore, because it will be something common and banal, usual, and not so fantastic.
Okay, yeah, it could be. What his main point is, though, is that when we think of the future, we don't think of how society will be, but we think of what technologies will develop. So we think of what kind of stuff are we going to have in the future, but we don't think of how are people going to interact in the future. Okay?
Okay.
And I think it was interesting that some of you mentioned things other than possessions. You mentioned things about war and other social things, which was very interesting because it would be in agreement with what this author thinks. Okay, very good, very good. Any other comments or questions?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, let's go to the next section. Ken, could you read it for us?
Yes. But those of us who do future work professionally have to live up to the highest standard. When we think about what impact the spread of, say, self-driving cars or three-dimensional printer will have, we have to consider more than the technical details.
Okay, very good, very good. Ken, you might need to close a Verbling tab if you have the Verbling tab open, just because there's some echo. But I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So let me point out just a couple words. Okay, this one's self-driving. Driving. Make sure to pronounce the R there in driving.
Driving.
Okay, perfect. Everything else was okay. So any questions here?
The spread of, say, what does it mean?
Say means for example in this case.
Oh.
So
okay.
he says, what impacts the spread of, for example, self-driving cars?
Okay.
Okay, so it's just a way of saying, for example. That's a good question. Any other questions?
Three-dimensional printer what does it mean? Printer.
A 3D or three-dimensional printer. Has anybody ever heard of this idea of 3D printers?
Is it like a
Go ahead, Aya.
We usually use like a printer to the paper to the world, but the 3D printer is like we can make something material. Is it?
Exactly. So a 3D printer, instead of printing on paper, it actually prints out an object. So this is a new technology that's been becoming more popular in recent months. Maybe you've heard about 3D printing in the news or in an article, but it's a new technology where you print out objects instead of just things on paper. Okay?
Okay.
On the real size?
Sorry?
On the real size?
You mean they print out objects in real sizes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they can print me?
Actually, it's a good question. They're working on 3D printers that can print human tissue. So they could print something like an ear or an organ.
Okay.
So these are things that may be used way into the future. We can have printers that print organs and parts of the body if we need it for medical purposes. So maybe, Christina, maybe they'll be able to print you. I don't know. Just wait a couple years.
It's my mother can do it.
Yes.
But we could be printed before too with the help of gyps. I'm not sure how we can pronounce it. Some white substance, like for monuments and such things. Do you
Like
know?
marble?
No, not marble, but like gyps.
Can you write it in the chat?
I look for it in the dictionary, okay, and I will write in a minute.
Okay, very good. So I'll be waiting for it. Any other comments on this section or questions? Okay, let's go next to, who do we have? Mariana? Was it Mariana? It was Marina, wasn't it?
Okay.
Sorry. Go ahead.
We need to think about people, how to live, how we use and make our stuff, and how we are changing. These dynamics won't necessarily show up in the narrative, but you should always ask how your forecast will affect and be affected by them.
Okay, very good, very good. Good pronunciation. Any words that you didn't understand here?
Oh, I think I understand.
Okay, very good. Would you like to summarize it for us?
Technology can't be thought alone. We have to think about people and maybe more in social stuff. Technology is not the more important.
Okay, exactly. So we're going to have a list of factors that we maybe, or at least that this author believes we should consider when we're thinking about technology, or when we're thinking about the future. Okay, very good. Any comments or questions here? Okay, let's go next to, we have Andrew, how are you? Are you there, Andrew?
Hello. Yeah, hello,
Oh,
Audrey.
there you are. Very good, very
I'm
good.
fine. I'm doing well, yeah. What about you?
Great, it's nice to see you. So, Andrew, would you like to read us this section about climate?
Okay, sure. Climate, no surprise here. The farther out we look, the more we have to take into account the increasingly challenging impacts on our environment. Heat waves and drought will drive migration. Anything that puts out carbon will be subject to restrictions. Financial resources will be redirected to adaptation and recovery.
Okay, perfect. So this is the first factor that the author is saying is very important that maybe we don't think about is climate. Okay, I wanted to point out this word right here, migration, Andrew.
Migration, okay. Yeah,
perfect.
I read it like migration, yeah, migration.
Right, okay, perfect. So are there any questions here in this section? Any words you didn't understand?
Sorry, what's the meaning of the migration? Migration.
Okay, migration.
Migration.
What does it mean, migration? Anybody in the class?
It means to change the dislocation, yeah, in general.
Right. So heat waves and drought will drive migration. It's when people move from one place to another.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Any other questions?
Sorry, take into account. What does it mean?
Okay, take into account. We have to take into account the increasingly challenging impacts. Anybody know what it means, that phrase, to take into account?
Like pay attention on?
Right, to pay attention or to consider something.
Thank you.
So we have to take into account, we have to consider the increasingly challenging impacts on our environment. Okay, very good. Good question. Anything else you didn't understand?
Sorry, we can't say just count. We have to count the increasingly.
Yeah, you could say you have to count. It's a little bit different because count we usually use for something numerical, something with numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's better maybe
1, 2,
to say we have to consider the impacts. Okay? Okay, very good. Any other questions? Who was it that in the beginning had mentioned climate? Somebody mentioned climate in the beginning. Okay, maybe they're not here anymore. But climate, I think, is important, at least to the author, it's important. Do you guys think that it's one of the most important things to look at when we're talking about the future?
The climate?
Yeah, do you think the climate is one of the most important things to think about?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so. Because it affects our health.
Mm-hmm. Very
It
good.
affects
What
our
else?
environment.
What else could it affect? How could the climate affect the future?
Maybe become hotter.
Can provoke hunger.
Okay, yeah, maybe it could make hunger a bigger issue if there was drought, there wasn't enough water. Okay, what else?
Hunger, what does it mean?
Tell us, Christina.
Yeah, when you have nothing to eat.
Okay.
Mm-hmm, exactly. So if you want to eat something, you could say you're hungry, and if there is hunger in the world, that means that there are many people that don't have something to eat.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good, very good. So let's
Can
go.
also harm the agriculture.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. So that is why it might affect world hunger. It could harm the agriculture and even the economic systems. Okay?
The desperation of animal kinds.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. Okay, very good, very good. Let's go next to demographics. Demographics. Clarine, could you read this one for us?
Okay. Demographics. Throughout the developed world, populations are getting, on balance, older and often more diverse. In the US, the baby boom is starting to hit retirement age in a big way, even as ethnic diversity is accelerating. How will this change your market? What kinds of interface or language changes will you need to make?
Okay, very good, very good. So the second point that the author makes is about demographics. What are some questions here?
What's the baby boom is? Like, what's called the baby boom?
Right, it says in the US, the baby boom. Does anybody know what the baby boom is in the US?
Yeah.
Not only in US, when there are many children who are born.
Who were born at the period of time, yeah, at the short period of time.
Right, exactly, exactly. So the US, though, specifically when we say baby boomers, we're talking about one specific generation. Do you know which generation that is?
Yeah, that's after Second World War generation, especially.
Exactly, exactly. So from the 1940s to the 1960s, we call that the baby boom generation. And so it says in the US, the baby boom is starting to hit retirement age. So those people born at that period of time are getting older. They're starting to retire. Okay. Very good. Any other questions?
It's about a population getting older, I understand, but I don't know why it's often more diverse. What does it
Often
mean,
more
more
diverse.
deserved? Yeah.
Okay, it says more diverse. What does it mean to
Diverse.
be diverse?
Diverse, like different.
Exactly. So diverse means different. It could be in many different ways. So the populations are getting older and often more diverse. So that means not everybody is the same. There could be people from different ages, people from different backgrounds and different cultures.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
So why do you think the author thinks demographics is important based on this section? What is important about demographics? Any ideas?
That's a difficult question.
Well, look at the questions that he asks. How will this change your market? What kind of interface or language changes will you need to make? When we think about how people change, how diverse people are, it is going to change the market, the economy, and what kind of interfaces or languages you need to use to appeal to that demographic or that type of people. Okay, so when you're thinking about the future, the author believes that demographics is important. You have to look at what kinds of people we have in this world.
Maybe we can say here that we are in the era of consummation. So everything is for produce some things, and we have a special audience for most of products. And so if the old people prevail, or if only youngsters, for example, after the baby boom, so it can be a real problem for those who produce things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So when you're producing any kind of product, you have to look at the demographics. You have to look at who is going to buy your product. And so
And
that will
also,
change, that will affect the markets. Go ahead.
and we have concerning language here, it's also important that with each new generation we have linguistic changes, like slang things, and some words went to the past and some become more and more popular, and each generation invent their new words, and this is about language changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Anything else?
You know, Christina, any language has been changing all the time. For example, Russian language, yeah? 2000 years ago, it was another Russian language, and nowadays people don't speak it. It's inevitable to happen with any languages. It not depends on the population or the demographic. It's not correlation with this.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's there are youngsters who can influence more the language changes, or it can be the old people. If there are more old people, the big possibility that it will be them who influence more the language, and that the youngsters would repeat after them, and if there are more teenagers, they can make the language of old people different.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So maybe even though language has always been changing through time, language is a factor in our future. So the way that language develops affects how our future will turn out to be. And not only language, or not only changes within a language, but changes across languages. So now you can see that English is more and more becoming a universal language, and that affects the way that the future will be. It affects how we communicate with each other and who we're able to communicate with on a global scale. So that could be another way to think about language affecting the future.
That's because new things that appeared, they should have some names, and these names, if these things are produced or registered in USA, for example, they are called in English, and so that's why English becomes more and more international language.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Okay, let's look at this next section because we have 3 more points to read. Hopefully we can look at all of them. Aya, would you like to read this one for us?
Okay, 3. Changing social pattern. This is tricky because a forecaster usually needs to avoid taking partisan position in his or her work. But recognizing changing reactions to LGBT communities, for example, or the evolving role that religion plays in our lives is just beginning soon. Another big one that's too often missed: the transformation of the position of women in politics and economics.
Okay, very good. So we're talking now about social patterns and how these might affect the future. I wanted to point out to you, Aya, this word, it should be women.
Women.
Okay, perfect. So the pronunciation of that word is a little bit strange. We pronounce the O similar to like an I, but remember it's like women. Okay, and then this one right here, reactions. Make sure to make it 2 separate syllables. Reactions.
Reactions.
Perfect. Okay, any questions here? What are some questions?
What the LGBT stands for?
Okay, yeah. Does anybody know what this stands for, LGBT? LGBT stands for lesbian, gay, bi, and transsexual. So this is a group that stands for different sexualities. Okay, so it says recognizing changing reactions to LGBT communities. Okay, so it represents all the different, or most of the different sexualities. So the reactions that we have with these communities may be changing in the future, and that might play an important role in what is to come. Okay, that's just one example of social patterns. They listed some other examples as well, like religion and the position of women. Any other questions?
What's the last sentence? Another big one that too often misses: the transformation of the position of women in politics and economic.
Okay, so that whole sentence, what does that sentence mean? Did you have a specific word, Ken, or just did you not understand that sentence?
I understand all of this, but I don't know what's the transformation of position of women. It mean now position is all of the man, and now it change in the future if we be a woman in politics and economics.
Right, so it's not saying that only women are going to be in politics and economics, but as
I
you
don't know
can
why.
see, right, like as you can see now, it's becoming more and more acceptable for women to be in politics and economic positions. So
It's called
that's
feminist movement, yeah?
right, right.
Emancipation.
So you could say emancipation. This is something that's happening right now. Even now, women are not as common to see in politics and economic positions, but maybe in the future, it will become more equal, and that's a changing social pattern that could affect the future. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Let's look at the next section then. And we have Christina, could you read it?
Power and wealth. Another third rail dynamic, this includes the impact of economic inequality, both across and within nations. The existence of marginalized but not necessarily powerless communities, even the change from a primarily rural to a primarily urban planet. Will the subject of your forecast change economic and political balances? Could it be used to hack the status quo or make it stronger?
Okay, very good, very good. So we have the idea of power and wealth, and we're thinking about how can power and wealth impact the future. Any questions here?
Teacher, I'm sorry, I think I've got to go. I have to dinner.
Okay, no problem. It was nice to see you in class.
And thank you for the lesson. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Take care. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So we have power and wealth. Any questions in this section?
No, can I say like these words are correlating to each other because power is wealth and wealth is a power. They two things cannot exist from each other or without each other. How is better to say?
Without each other. Without each other.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so that's a good point. Power and wealth, they can't exist without each other. So if you have power, you have wealth. If you have wealth, you have power. Do you agree? Those others in the class? Do you think that they're the same? They go together?
Yes, for example, the United States.
Okay, yeah, so you have power and you have wealth, and they just come in pairs. You can't separate them. Others in the class, do you agree with Andrew?
Christina, what would you say?
What do you think?
I'm not sure about the world wealth. That's why.
Wealth it means rich people, for example, wealth people who has lots of money. You know, it's called wealth.
Exactly.
People,
so
people,
wealth means money. So do you think that power and wealth always go together, Christina?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, very good, very good. We are running out of time. I wanted to point out just that the fifth factor that the author thought was important was thinking about art. When you're talking of the future, thinking about art, which is interesting. Says it may be a surprise, but art, he believes, is important. Not just like paintings, but things like movies and cultural things like that. Okay? So that was another one. Just to review, let me see. We had first climate, then demographics, changing social patterns, power and wealth, and art. Those were the 5 things that the author found important when we're thinking about the future and how we're going to imagine the future. Okay, so pretty interesting. Some of the ideas that the author presented were similar to what you guys presented at the beginning, and some of them were different. So it's very interesting to hear what you thought. Thank you for joining the class, and I hope to see you in future classes, everyone, okay?
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
hope to see you too.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
okay. Take